Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister's refusal, even though he's in Ottawa, to answer my questions directly is not keeping with the Christmas spirit.
Well, another Liberal leader who doesn't want to come in and tell Canadians about the decisions he has made. Seems Mark Carney is not so different from Justin Trudeau after all. Welcome back to the Canadian Shield. My name is Sterling. Well, one day after the political decision to not support his own MOU with Alberta, Mark Carney is suspiciously absent from the House of Commons, despite this being Wednesday at time of recording. And we know that Mark Carney had to go behind closed doors and talk to the party caucuses. That's why everything starts a little bit later on Wednesdays. Seems that Mark Carney felt that it was better to avoid talking to Pierre Poilievre and instead put forward, the B team put forward a different minister for every question that Pierre Poilievre has, so they can get their individual sound bites without ever solving any of the problems or explaining to Canadians why they have done the things that they have done, said the things that they have said, and make them understand whether or not they can be trusted as a government, or at least if we can put any faith in anything they have to say. That doesn't seem to matter to the Liberal government. Perhaps it doesn't matter to them individually. Perhaps it doesn't matter to them as a party. Either way, Canadians, it's time that we started to put forward people who are going to look after our best interests. Let's jump in.
Canadians have wanted to know who came up with the idea of radical open doors, liberal immigration that overwhelmed our healthcare, housing, and job market. Well, it turns out it was Mark Wiseman, the Prime Minister's corporate crony, longtime Liberal elite, and head of the Century Initiative, whose stated mission is to triple the population of Canada to 100 million people, a policy that is designed to profit multinational corporations by driving wages down and housing costs up. Why is it every time somebody comes along with an idea that harms Canadians and drives up their cost of living, the Prime Minister gives them a promotion?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I wish to reiterate my thanks to our outgoing ambassador to the United States of America, Kirsten Hillman, who has furnished incredible, loyal, and very insightful services to the people and to the government of Canada. Mr. Speaker, I think our country owes her a debt of gratitude. And once again, the policy that the member across refers to has never been and will never be the policy of the government of Canada.
The Honourable Leader.
I'm sorry, are you trying to make me believe that he doesn't know Mark Carney, or are you trying to make me believe that he is not the head of the Century Initiative that has put a strain on our housing, our health care, and our jobs? Which one? Because they are obviously the policy of the Liberal government. There's nothing that Pierre Poilievre said that doesn't reflect the facts.
Of the opposition.
Mr. Speaker, every time a Liberal insider does damage to Canadians, drives up their cost of living, they get a reward. It's not just with Mr. Wiseman, it's the Prime Minister himself. His policies are driving up grocery prices for the year to come. And what did he do as punishment for himself? Gave himself an $800,000 privately chartered flight to Egypt, where there were meetings happening in which he had absolutely no role other than a photo op. Why is it that Canadians need to line up at food banks so that he can go jetting around the world for photo ops?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I know in the spirit of the holiday season, the Leader of the Opposition is not surely not suggesting that the Prime Minister not attend as auspicious an event as the ceremony with respect to peace in the Middle East and Gaza, and joining multitudes of other world leaders at that occasion and representing and making Canadians proud for his attendance at that event.
The opposition.
Oh yeah, I'm so proud that Mark Carney went there and did nothing and said nothing and spent $800,000 on an airplane. We just last year bought 9 new airplanes. Mark Carney is forever. There's a big shot of him with the airplane behind him with Big Canada on it, and he's getting onto it. So I don't understand why we had to charter a plane. Why are we paying for that? You have a plane, and I have enough of an issue with you flying that, and not for the expense, but because you want me to not spread any carbon while you're zipping around the planet on jets. But The fact that you had to charter one from somebody else, give them $800,000 of my hard-earned taxes as it goes less and less fur, then you should really be paying for that yourself.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister was conspicuously irrelevant at that meeting where he had played no role whatsoever in the agreement, and yet he charged Canadians $800,000 for a privately chartered jet. Apparently, his own prime ministerial jet was not good enough for him. He does this while he imposes an industrial carbon tax on farm equipment, on fertilizer, on food processors that has driven 2.2 million Canadians to a food bank. Why is the Prime Minister being the Grinch of the grocery store, charging taxpayers for flights when Canadians can't eat?
The Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister's work on the world.
I can't hear. I can't hear. Also, I just would like to mention to the Honourable Member for Oakville West that I could hear her all the way here. So if we could keep it a little lower. We will now go to the Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister's work on the world stage with his counterparts to bring an end to the conflict in the Middle East is extremely important. He is continuing to be engaged on the peace plan in the Middle East. The plan, in fact, reflects Canada's long-standing positions that Hamas should have no role in the governance of Palestine, and the ceasefire provides an opportunity for the Prime Minister and other world leaders to continue to work on humanitarian aid for the benefit of all.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
I'm sorry, you spent $800,000 on an airplane. How does that benefit or give aid or humanitarian anything for the Canadian people? I don't care that he wants to go over there and let Trump rub his face in it. I don't care that he wants to go over there and be one of the only countries on earth that decided to acknowledge Palestine's existence. I do care that he has perfectly good working plane and he elected to take something else because he felt that the plane that Canadians provided for him didn't offer him enough prestige, you see. That's what it was. He didn't think that the ones the Canadians bought for him made him look fancy enough when he landed in this room full of billionaires who were signing this deal that, of course, we all know was not ever going to last. He just thinks that it's all about his ego. He doesn't care how it impacts you and I. It's not his money he's spending. He's spending our money. He doesn't have to be responsible with it. He just throws it away on a plane he didn't need so that he could try to make himself look, I don't know, a few inches taller, I suppose.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister's refusal, even though he's in Ottawa, to answer my questions directly is not keeping with the Christmas spirit. And he's going to, this is at a time when he's driven up the cost of living so much that 2.2 million Canadians are lined up at food banks, that food prices are going to drive an extra $1,000 onto the grocery bills of Canadians next year after he imposed higher taxes on farm equipment, fertilizer, food packaging, and more. Will the Prime Minister, instead of being the Grinch of the grocery store, reverse these taxes so that Canadians can have an affordable, delicious Christmas?
The Honourable Minister of Jobs and Families.
Oh, this lady.
Mr. Speaker, while the member opposite talks about imaginary taxes, Canadians know exactly what's going on, and it's related to climate change, Mr. Speaker. Our thoughts are with the cattle farmers in the western provinces this year, Mr. Speaker, who have faced unimaginable loss of crop and loss of cattle as a result of drought, Mr. Speaker. That's driving up the price of beef, something that we can't actually control right now. But you know what we can, Mr. Speaker? We can make sure that Canadians have extra money in their pocket. That's what Canadians are counting on, that will be for them in these tough times.
First of all, that lady gets on my last nerve because she doesn't, like, the facts are not relevant to her statement, right? I mean, if there would have been massive drought out west, I'm sure we would have heard about it. Why we're hearing about it in the second week of December is a bit odd. Why we're trying to blame that on the cost of steak and hamburger at the grocery store makes sense to me because the Liberals don't want to take responsibility for any of their actions. They're trying to make you think that it's something other than what it is. We all know that they targeted the cattle. They put a whole book out saying how cow farts are some of the problems, so we got to make cows more expensive. Everybody knows it. You're not fooling anybody with your rhetoric. You're not fooling anybody with your misinformation, to take a word right out of the Liberal playbook. I think we need to examine a couple of things in her statement. She says that it's not her fault. Work with me on this. First, she says there's an imaginary tax, which we all know is not imaginary. A tax is a tax is a tax. It's very real. So that's misinformation. That's dishonesty. On top of that, we know that the price of food is through the roof and that people can't afford to buy it. So her real response is to not bring down the cost of the food, but to say that she wants to give you more money. Now, the thing is that every nickel that the Liberal government spends, they have to borrow. So that's costing money on interest payments. If you want to give more money to Canadians, what you need to do is make the cost of everything less. Putting more money in their pocket just will mean that companies have to pay more, and that will drive up the cost of things. Bringing down the cost of things means the amount of money that I have in my pocket will go further. You see how it works? Now, I know that kind of math might be difficult for the Liberal Party, because that would mean that all of their policies would be laid bare as to be costing Canadians a ridiculously expensive standard of living. However, the truth is the truth is the truth. And I, for one, am tired of letting the Liberal Party talk like everything is fine and everything is wonderful and everything is rosy while they rent planes and tell us that we're not allowed to have steak because of climate change or whatever their twisted logic is. You're renting planes, telling me that I can't have steak, and that somehow you're going to send me $55 every couple of months and tell me that the world is wonderful and everything looks great? Well, it is not great. And the winter is becoming very, very difficult and very, very harsh. And people don't have the resources that they require to live just the basic standard of living. You have ruined their lives. And it's time that you stop trying to blame some imaginary carbon problem and take responsibility for your policies. That's just my opinion. You can let me know what your opinion is down in the comments. I'm going to wrap here. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you next time.